Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's Race Chat. My name's Clinton Geoffrey, along with me, my good buddy Adam Ross. Adam, crazy week, man. It's we don't seem to be getting any closer. We're up and down with this virus, but some schedules came out. Racing is on the horizon. We do have some good news on that. We're going to talk about some schedule stuff tonight, and I hope we're on the upward. Or is it upward or downward slope? I guess we'd be downward towards racing. It'd be easier. How you doing?
It would be nice. Hopefully we're on the road towards normal. Clint, before we get going, I want to thank all of the people who have sent kind messages about my mother-in-law, Gloria. It's been a really hard week for the boys and for Angie. She was a huge part of their life, and it was a quick battle with cancer, man, and it's real. It hits hard, and tough to say goodbye to another loved one, but we've done it a lot lately. But thanks so much for the well wishes, and everyone's hanging in there fairly well. We're doing our best to hold up Angie and my father-in-law Manny, and we will carry on.
I mean, you're a fairly open book, Adam. You got your Mind Well session on Thursday, and where you openly talk about feelings and that. But hell, man, Spencer and I were talking about it before we got on the air. It's been a tough year for you, man. Both your parents, two on Angie's side. It's man, I can't even imagine what you guys are going through.
Yeah, Angie's parents both remarried, so between us we have 6 moms and dads. 3 moms, 3 dads. And in the last year we've lost 4 out of the 6, and we just put our dog to bed a couple of weeks ago. We lost Blackjack. So yeah, it's been hard, and what do you say, Clint? I just don't know. It's been.
Before we dive into too much racing, and the reason we're going to talk about this is because most of the people watch us every week. We consider family. We got a pretty good core group. So is this a distraction for you on Tuesdays to get away from the reality of what's been going on, or is this more of an anchor on weeks like this for you? Because I know it's an anchor for me on some weeks when things are going good. You know,
that's a really good question, and I think, like you said, it's being with family, and this is part of my family. I spent all day today with Angie and my father-in-law dealing with things and making arrangements. But we're so lucky to have this extended family that, yeah, this is an important part, Clinton, of my routine, of my mental health. Doing this show on Tuesdays, doing my Mind Well sessions on Thursdays. If we didn't do it now, okay, let me make my point, and then if we didn't do it, what would I be doing? I'd be trying to distract myself with something, consoling my wife, whatever. But like I say, we've got a great family unit that supports each other. The only downfall is normally on a normal Tuesday, you and I talk to each other probably 5-6 times throughout the day, talk about what we're going to bring up on the show. The last week or 2 weeks, I probably have gone without talking to you more than I have in a long time. So that I get disappointed in myself for that, because I'm not really ready to come on, but I'm ready to be here, if that makes any sense. So the preparation is there, but I'm ready to be here with you.
Earlier today I said, I don't know, am I a bad friend for not reaching out, or am I a good friend for staying out of the way? And you know where we're at, buddy. Anyways, let's move on to some racing. We got a lot of viewers joining us tonight. We really appreciate you coming on. We did share this in the Action Sprint Tour group tonight, so we're going to reveal their schedule tonight, and they've been very patient. We can talk about that for half an hour on all the dealings going on in the sprint car world and what's going on at Arsh Weekend, but we do have a fairly big slate of topics we want to touch upon. But, let's talk first about, before we get into the Action Sprint Tour and what's going on there, let's talk quickly about Flamboro's plan, Adam. They released a COVID A and a COVID B schedule based on where we are. And, a lot of the us tracks we're still going with our A schedule with, a 50-50 shot that we're going to have to go to a B schedule. But I thought it was interesting that Flamborough came right out of the box and said, here's our plan if we're here, here's our plan if we're there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's so John Casale. Believe it or not, he's a real planner. Like everything he does, the decisions he makes, the shows he puts on, puts a lot of thought into it. So it doesn't surprise me that he put a lot of thought into his plan for this year. Now, granted, there was a few mistakes. There were some errors with divisions and dates, and these things happen. But yeah, most people privately plan their plan A and plan B, Clinton, as you and I know all too well. Uh, we've done that a lot over the last 18 months. Most people do not broadcast their backup plan, but I think that's great that he did.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it for a few reasons. One, it gives the racers hope to know something is going to happen, and that's been the biggest thing that I've been kind of going back to where we were is, at least we know in a worst case scenario with racing what it could be, and we managed most divisions. Now, I got to speak to John Cadman today about super late models, because I saw them show up on a schedule here and there, and they're in the same boat, kind of with 358 modifieds, the late models on pavement, super late models, those top tier divisions that really need the fan base to pay themselves. And 360s, we're still working on that plan. We'll touch upon that after we talk about crates a little bit here. But I think it's very smart of John to get that out and put that out there, because the drivers who show up on both the B schedule and the A schedule know they're going to go racing, and that's a good thing for the industry. And it's kind of how we've had to govern ourselves so far this year.
You also need, Clinton, an advocate. The divisions over the last 12 months that have done really well, and let's say 11 months from March until now, are divisions that have advocates working in their corner, making sure they get to come out and race. And it's not always great news, right? There's still people saying we shouldn't have to pay $250 to race. It's creating a horrible precedent. No, it's creating an opportunity for you to take your $20,000 toy or your $50,000 toy out and use it. Take the $250 fee away and sit at home for a year. And that's what super late model racers did. And super late model racers that were even less fortunate, like John Cadman, building a brand new race car, they've got that toy and they're not able to race it. So there's so many things at play. And if you have a car that raced in the last 12 months or had the opportunity to race in the last 12 months, you should have someone to thank for it, because not a single event was put on. And as an example, let's use Phil Givens, who put a lot of work into pure stock racing. And so did a number of people. And their names are escaping me, and this is awful. Schwarzenberg. There were different people that got involved and said, we want to go racing. Let's put on a show. Let's sweeten the pot. And their energy allowed people to go out and play, whereas some divisions just didn't get much chance.
No, I think when you hit the nail right on the head when you said they all have an advocate, because when I think about the divisions that did get out to play, the advocates and the guys who pushed for those to happen, and whether they were the ones paying the bills or the ones rounding up the guys to pay the bills, those were the people behind why we got to go racing last year. And that's the good news, is we're going to go racing again this year. Just want to mention, we don't have any guests on the show tonight. We just kind of want to hang out and talk to you guys. If you have any questions or comments, look us up on Facebook at GeForce TV Network, Twitter at GeForce TV Network, or right here on YouTube. You just have to sign in your Google account and you can get in the comments on the right side. So let us know. We'd love to hear from you what you guys want to talk about. So go ahead.
Let's acknowledge Jeff Bedford's comment, because it's important as well. Our condolences to Mike Brown on the passing of his wife. A huge outpouring of support there. Of course, Mike Brown is involved in the tech. I think he's involved in a lot of things at Sunset Speedway. He's kind of a right-hand man to Brian Todish. And very sad to hear the passing of his wife. I actually thought Rick Spencer Walt wrote one of the kindest tributes that I've seen. His post was beautiful about her.
It's been a tough week for a lot of us, man. Whew. It's crazy. But yes, condolences go up to the Brown family for sure. Back to the schedule. So John is, they've got their plan out. A lot of the tracks have got their schedule out. I see Southern Ontario Motor Speedway put their schedule out. We're going to drop the Action Sprint Tour schedule. With regards to Ush Weekend, obviously my full-time job, I get asked that a lot. Last week we put out a statement to our race teams, the crate teams who were specifically asking. Ush Weekend, we'll be releasing a full schedule in the next 3 weeks. As the pandemic situation changes, we will give updates on the first of each month as to the status of each scheduled event. So that's where we are at Ashweekend right now. We're putting together our A schedule, and we'll play it by ear from month to month as it sits right now. And I mean, we're still months out from the schedule, so that situation could change. But on the first of each month, we'll make an official statement on where we are for the season. I mean, Ashweekend's in a bit of a situation on its own. It's got its own government branch that does their own, their own types of things. So regardless of what everybody else in Ontario gets to do, Ashweekend could be in a better spot as far as getting back to racing, or in a tighter spot, depending on where this lies. Specifically in Six Nations, they got spiked again there 2 weeks ago, so we watch that as it comes and goes. But that's the official statement for Ashweekend. Let's talk about crate sprints. We have a few of those guys watching now. So the crate sprint, Adam. Let's talk about development of this class. It started about 6 years ago at Ashweekend with, I think it was about 6 or 7 cars. We built it up, got to 11 in the first couple of weeks right off the bat, and by the end of the year, it was taken off. Now, I believe we are about 60. If I had to guess, an easy 60 cars here with the full crate package that have Ashweekend seals built by our approved builders, including LaFrance in the East. So that's amazing to have all those cars on the same rule package. Now we get to build a lot of the things. And last year was going to be the first Canadian crate nationals at Ashweekend, and it's going to continue to grow. Now, Brockville got on board with it to start last year. They obviously got robbed because of the COVID virus, but this year they are back. They're going to run them full time. And, the schedule we've been able to put together, and you're a lot like my wife in the fact that I kept saying I'm working on the schedule. When you finally said to me, what are you going to do when you don't have that anymore to work on? It seemed to go on forever, right? Like, even you're busting my balls like, man, it takes forever. And then we have great partners like Henry Bohr at 1000 Island RV, who's our contact with Brockville. And, him and I endeavor to put this out in December, but it takes a while to move things. So we are still working on some corporate stuff here with the Action Sprint Tour, so we're not going to reveal any sponsors just yet, but we are headed to what we feel is going to be a great season, regardless of what happens with COVID. So, Spencer, roll out the schedule and throw it up there. So this will be your Action Sprint Tour 2021 schedule coming out this year. So we kick off at Merrittville. And the other thing I want to mention here about this, and just leave this up, Spencer, is so with the 360s and crates, with Ashweekend being questionable right now, we have put together a schedule of races for 360s and crates that are going to be broadcast on GeForce. We're looking at about 10 events right now broadcast live with both crates and 360s together. And as you mentioned, Adam, with good advocates that we're putting together to make these races happen, regardless of whether they're allowed to have fans or not. So the first one of those combined events is the Monday, May 2-4. That will be with 360 sprints at Merrittville. Your thoughts on that, Adam, putting 2 of the premier divisions on dirt, on live to help with the sponsors and the exposure for this division?
Again, you've had so many things to balance, Clinton. I think that's brilliant. The May 2-4 date's a big night. It always has been at Merrittville. Well, they've always tried to make it so. And for the longest time, it was a Syracuse qualifier, wasn't it? And the Syracuse qualifier status kind of got devalued over the years. So I think it needed a bit of a boost in the arm, and maybe this will help the event. But and I'm not trying to degrade any of the divisions that were already there, but having 2 full sprint car divisions will definitely add some excitement, and having a live stream will definitely bring some value to their sponsors.
Yeah, we've really tried to put together as much broadcast capabilities as we can for these both sprint car classes, the Action Sprint Tour and the new tour that's going to come out for the 360s that we're going to announce on next week's show. Let's go back to the schedule quickly, Spencer. Then we get into Humberstone after that. Terry Vince has taken over Humberstone. They put a lot of work into the place, Adam. Everything down to new pit sound systems. And the big thing at Humberstone this year is the push-off track is going to happen off of turn number 2. So we will not be having to wait for the cars any longer at Humberstone. So when it comes down to getting them ready for their hot laps or putting heat in the motors or lining them up for the heats in the feature, just like Ashweekend, they'll be running. So that's going to be a huge advantage when we go to Humberstone those nights. And then you've got a couple of these nights where we've tried our best to pair them up. So the second Humberstone race on July 4th, the next Monday, the next night is the big block race scheduled for Ush Weekend with the Ashton Sprinter Run. So we made those tour races. So now the guys coming from Brockville have a reason to come up for 2 nights and race. So we've tried to pair them up wherever possible. You get your look through. The next real important pairing there would be the Ush Weekend on Friday the 13th and then Saturday on the 14th. So, for example, that's a regular Friday night at Ush Weekend. We've made it a point night because we had to designate a few Ush Weekend nights. So by designating that night, it gives the Brockville and the Quebec guys a reason to come up for 2 nights again. Then we have the once in a while we have an odd night here. There's a night off there in the middle, and then they're back to Ush Weekend. But then a week later, we are in Brockville. This is the week Ush Weekend would be closed after our big midsummer race with the dirt NASCAR race. So the 21st and 22nd, that's really the farthest race for these guys. It is our first trip to Brockville, and then Cornwall has asked for the tour. So that's amazing, Adam, to have Cornwall come down. And why that's big is we expect the 10 teams that are in Quebec are going to help support these races and mark them on their calendar. So we expect to see a whole new crew of racers come to Brockville, Cornwall. Your thoughts on the distance and, how we've just had to expand a little bit there?
It's such a balance, Clint. With a COVID year, you bite the bullet and the distance is no big deal. On a regular year where these teams are getting lots of racing to do, I think it's great to make as many events special as you can because it allows people the choice. If they're going to travel, it's going to be special. What more could you ask for as a race car driver?
Yeah, so we've been trying to put them together and race as smart as we can. Now, when you have great partners like Brockville buying in the division weekly, at one point we had talked about doing an East-West and a national tour, but then COVID the heat is still on with that. So it made sense to just do one strong tour where we could bank on most of the events happening. Book 20 and get 15 in was the goal, depending on where we are. So obviously we're going to try and get them all in, but if we can get 15 out of the 20 in, that would be great. Back to the schedule, Spencer. The next thing I want to mention is the 2 Brighton dates. We booked those together. So Brighton, their 2 dates this year will be on Labor Day weekend, a Saturday, Sunday. Again, a combination race paired up with the 360 Tour. So that's going to be awesome to have both divisions there. And we're hoping to get both of those on the air on Labor Day weekend, Saturday and Sunday from Brighton Speedway. So that's exciting. Then you move down, you've got a few of the Ush Weekend races, the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, and then the Sunday after the Nationals. So they'll be there for Friday, Saturday at Ush Weekend. And then Sunday, Humberstone's going to have a combined race with the 360s and the crates as well. So, yes, it's an extra day added onto that weekend. But the idea is with all of the 360 teams traveling and the crate teams traveling, we can move them over to Humberstone and continue on. Then that takes us to our last 3 events. We've got Buxton once again, and that is going to be on Thanksgiving weekend. Buxton is going to be there, but they're having a big Ontario Dirt Week. I don't know how much they've announced it yet, but they're having a lot of the divisions. They're going to have the Ontario Dirt Competition, street stocks and mini stocks there, late models, UMP modifieds. They're expecting a big dirt weekend here in Western Ontario, and I think they're going to do very well on it, Adam. Even if the border is open in Super Dirt Week and everything opens, I'm confident this is going to be a good one for Buxton, and then we'll finish off the crate schedule with our 2-nighter Friday, Saturday, with the championship being decided at the Brockville Fall Nationals. And for the crates to be part of a prestigious event like that, that's gone on for many years, Adam, that's kind of a feather in the crates cap too, to be able to get on that. So there you have it. That's your Action Sprint Tour schedule for 2021. And, we're working on a fairly large point fund to make it worth your while. And we hope to have all those benefits out within the next week or so. The big thing, though, was, as I mentioned, some of the corporations we've been trying to work with, they're big ships. They take a while to turn. So we're still working on those, and we expect to have everything exactly where we need it. But right now, Adam, our point is to just get the races on, right? We got to find funding to get these races on. We need our advocates to make these races happen. Once we've got all those in place, then we'll start working on the point fund and finalizing that and letting these guys know what their season's going to be worth. I mean, at this point in time, it's almost the best we can do.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Give them something to plan for. There's going to be more last-minute adjustments this year than ever before. I think some will be for the better, Clinton. Some might be for the worst. It is what it is, but we've got to be ready for it.
Yeah. I think we got to keep trucking and try and make this happen as best we can. And we owe it to the teams. That's why we've been working on the sprint car side of things, anyways. Uh, you know, I've been trying to make sure these guys have places to race, regardless what happens at Ush Weekend. Even when you look at the border right now, we'll talk about this a little bit more in next week's show when we reveal the 360 plan. But the border may be locked down. You have all those Quebec guys looking for races. We had Poirier come down for a bunch of races. They're already asking if we'll be having more races down here. So if we can make a solid plan for them to participate, I think we could be really strong around here. I mean, we had 27 cars at some of the Maryville races last year, so that's super exciting.
And it could create a new norm for the way speedways work on their schedules, because you're better off having big events every couple of weeks, Clinton, and then on your off weeks have more of an entry level schedule, or are you better off with the traditional? We're going to be every Saturday night or every Friday night. Promoters are going to have to make some choices.
Yeah, so for our weekend teams, hang tough. We're always going to keep working to give you guys the best foot forward and try and make the best season we can. I think, hopefully we can turn the corner here soon and get some answers. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in our government, to be honest. I see some of the battles going on across the border too. I see they're allowing a certain percentage of fans. Some of the New York states. I know Can-Am was excited to get their big block race back on the schedule because they feel they can make it over the number of fans. So we will follow that. Yeah, France says 33% crowds announced this week. So, I mean, heck, just from the Ushweekend perspective, 20% would be a regular crowd for us, and we'd be happy to go. So 33%, yep. We can almost do our big events. Anyways, let's move on to something fun, Adam. Let's look at some of the Bristol testing that came out today. This was a cool video. It came out about an hour before we went on the air. They got the dirt down at Bristol, and they've started to run some test laps. I think this is a dirt truck out there, turning some laps. So this will be a look at what we're going to get coming up for the next month or so. And I'm super pumped about having Bristol on for a month of dirt races, whether it's the support classes, the big NASCAR teams, the Outlaws, late models, the sprint cars. It's going to be awesome.
I think it will be too, Clinton. There's been a lot of talk about the invitation-only sprint car event that the World of Outlaws is behind, which I think is nonsense. I think it's nonsense that people are complaining. I think we should be looking at the positives, at how amazing is this going to be.
Yeah, I mean, so from a promoter standpoint, sure, for the money side, you want 1,000 teams to try and battle down to 30, right? Because you only really got to pay the 30 good, and the other 970 get to keep all their back gate money. I get it. But from a fan's perspective, I want to see a nice, tight show. I want to see the best of the best. So an invitational makes sense to get these guys out there. And, the controversy came last week is who's ready and who's not, who's got the equipment and who doesn't for Bristol. And a place like that, it's going to be hard on, on hubs and things like that. And guys who bring junk equipment out are probably not going to survive, the forces that it's going to take to run fast at Bristol. But, I mean, do you really want guys out there at half speed causing problems and ruining the show? I'll take the best 30 or 40 guys any day of the week. Give me your best of the best and let's go at it. The issue comes is when you get to the bottom of that list and you've got, 30 legit guys and you got to pick one of them for the last 5 spots, and I'm sure like Donnie shots and there's tons of the top 20 is going to be easy. It's the bottom 20 out of that pool of 50 guys left that gets touchy.
Look at it from the standpoint of wanting to put on an entertaining show, Clinton. Do you ever watch Supercross?
Of course, I love it.
Do you care about anyone who's not in the top 20? Who's not in the top 6? You're there to see the best of the best, and you want to see a wild show. You don't care if 150 riders show up to try to qualify. You are there to see the big names put on a big show at these amazing venues. If I'm the World of Outlaws, yeah, I'm going to promote from within. My drivers, my show, I'm going to invite who I want. Those are the people there that the fans are there to see. The notion of wanting 100 cars to show up to try to qualify for 30 spots, that notion belongs to us. People that have been around a long time and remember how exciting it was at the Victoria 200 at Fulton when there'd be 120 cars, or Eastern States at Orange County when there'd be over 100 cars trying to qualify. Big deal. The World of Outlaws are there to sell their t-shirts, and the t-shirts they sell are the main drivers. That's who they want to focus on. But think about it. It gives them a limited group to work around, people that they trust, they know can put on a good show, people that aren't going to go out there and make them look like idiots. It's going to be the best of the best.
No, I think it's going to be a great thing for dirt. You know, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about speeds are slow. Big deal. I mean, you get 30 of the best out there. I don't give a crap if they're riding skateboards. It's going to be a good race, you know, and that's kind of my attitude all along. We took some flack about that with the Pinty's race. You know, when you put out 360 sprint cars and then you put the NASCAR Pinty's cars out there, they are going to look like turtles. But I'm confident when they get door to door and we got a full field of 30, it's going to be a hell of a show to watch these guys slip and slide their way to glory. So I'm all right with the speeds being low. I'm super excited about
No,
a month of dirt. I think
the field's being low. The speeds are going to be high.
Yeah. Let's talk
You
about
said you're
Jeff
okay with the.
Yeah, I'm okay with the speeds being low. I want the field high. Numbers. Let's talk about Jeff Bedford. Would we bring in one of the track owners and talk to them? Certainly would. Who do you want us to talk to? And says he usually goes to Toronto show. I'd like to hear what they have planned for the new year, what's coming on, and what fans can look forward to. Yeah, we can talk to Greg McPherson, the guys from the Toronto show. We can bring on any owners you want. Let us know what track you go to, and we'll get to the bottom of it for you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to fight. I'm gonna have to fight with Fran. I love Fran, but his argument's no good.
About stage racing?
Yep. There are few things that NASCAR has done in the last number of years that have been big hits, in my opinion. Stage racing is one of them. Running 7 road courses this year is definitely one of them, because that race on the week, all 3 races on the weekend were very enjoyable for my money. I just enjoyed the heck out of them. I want to see more, and I'm going to get more. But to me, Clinton, the stage racing, and this was a topic I wanted to talk about last week, but can we throw in a little conversation right now?
Yeah, man. We're wide open tonight.
So Michael McDowell wins the Daytona 500. You're a small race team. For the rest of the year, they can go back to the shop and completely fabricate a new plan. All they need are points now. Stage points. They can give away race finishes to get stage points to almost guarantee them a pass through round 1 of the playoffs. I don't know of any team that's manipulated this yet, because all these teams do is think win, win, win at all costs. Front Row Motorsports could be the first team to play small ball with NASCAR and go for all the little points. When everyone else pits, they stay out, pick up a stage win, pick up 10 stage points, 9 stage points, and watch them advance through the playoffs, second round, third round, and see how that goes. But they have a unique opportunity to do that this year when nobody else has.
I like stage racing for a couple of reasons. And I'll tell you, first off, what I don't like about stage racing, and this has been the biggest complaint that I think a lot of us can agree with, is they waste too many laps when they throw the caution. So they go, they throw the yellow for a stage, and we end up pacing 6, 7 laps. You're in a truck race, you're losing a lot of laps from the stages. My positives of it are, as an announcer and as a race fan who doesn't just, I get the purists just want to see it go, but I like knowing, okay, my guy is sucking. We are going to have a shot here in 7 laps when they throw that yellow, and it's going to shake the dice up a little bit. So I think that's exciting. I think it's broken up the race a little bit, and I realize it might have been to get more of the stick and ball fans and to get new people involved, but I think breaking up these races into smaller segments, I like it. I've always been a fan of it. Not to the point that we're going to see it come here to the short tracks anytime soon, I don't think. But I don't know, Adam. We pitched it for the dirt race. I think it needs to be in stages there. That's a different animal, and I'll explain why. But let's get back to that in a minute. Let's talk about your thoughts on the stages. And, I think we've gone this way, and I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I enjoy it, and I respect Fran's opinion to not like it. But for my reasons, I like it. Like you say, Clinton, it throws a few different strategies out there. For the same reason that Syracuse racing at the Moody Mile got a little bit tired, because there became one predominant strategy, and that was fuel saving, fuel saving, fuel saving. My God, stop enough fuel saving. I want to see cars race. This gives them reason. Look at the Xfinity race where Allmendinger and what's his name? Oh my goodness, the driver Cindric, Allmendinger and Cindric wreck each other going to the end of stage one. Like, holy cow! Can you imagine? Great storylines, great excitement. Again, if you're a traditionalist, I get that, I respect it, but I like the excitement.
One thing I didn't notice the last 2 weeks was the choose line. So, do you know what happened to the choose rule, Adams? It's still in. Was it just not affected Daytona, the road course? Where they had that arrow and you could pick whether you wanted to go high or low. I
Good
didn't see
question.
that. And it was only after the fact that someone brought it up. And are we not doing that anymore? And I love that. I mean, we plan on bringing that to Ash Weekend to try it. And, I think it's exciting. It brings another element of strategy to the table. For example, if things aren't going well, you've got a chance to at least try something out of the blue and different. So, if everybody goes to the bottom and you're the sixth car and you can go to the top and be the outside pole on the restart, it's going to bring some good
Mhm.
drama. So, especially on dirt where it can get one laney, if
Oh,
I can say that, you know, you
Nathan,
can go to the
Nathan for the win. Nathan for the win. No choose cone at the super speedways or on the road courses. So we'll see it at the intermediates, I guess, and the short tracks. And thank goodness for Nathan.
Is there anything that kid doesn't know?
Hmm.
He's got
I
the
don't think
answers for
so.
everything. But and that's not a dig. Nathan knows his shit for sure. Let's what are we going to talk about now? But okay, let's go back to my issue about the dirt race at Oshweekend. When I was debating with NASCAR on why it should be 3 stages, and Fran's going to say no, maybe a 100 lapper. We're bringing in outside people. We were talking to people like Stuart Friesen, Christopher Bell, Haley Deegan, bringing in these types of stars to come in and race this event. Well, you don't want to put them in a car that they've had one hot lap session or two. They've got one qualifying heat race. Now they're in for 100 laps. We paid them a fortune to come up and race. They get with a team and it's not gelling, the setup's not right. You got a guy like Stuart Friesen out there who's just going to ride around for 100 laps and basically not be happy. He's not into it because things aren't going. That's not a dig on on Stuart. It's a dig on anybody. But now you give a guy like that a chance to come in. And I pitched a 20, 30, and then 50 lap 3 segments. So we get 20 laps. The cars that stay out get to keep their position. Those that go in the pits on the 5-minute break line up the way they come out of the pits. And it would just break up the race more. And a guy like Friesen, I could see him going in. The car's not right. First segment, car's not right. Second segment comes out, mid pack of the group that's leaving the pits and now can run from 24th up through the field in 50 laps because he's made the final changes. I mean, to me, that just made sense. And I realized some of the traditionalists aren't going to like it. I think we agreed on a break race instead of 3. They agreed to 2 segments, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
We've
and
jabbered
you know
away.
what I was happy with as I watched
What's that?
Speed Week. I was happy that they used competition cautions for the ARCA series. They are doing things to help keep the cost down. I think that's thumbs up to NASCAR and to ARCA by keeping, for example, Joe Gibbs Racing having a Denny Hamlin crew pitting for Ty Gibbs in the ARCA race where the next crew has nobody to go over the wall. I just think it's nice that they're doing things that they've tried at the smaller series and bringing them up to some of the larger series and making that happen. And before I forget, how about that Ty Gibbs?
Yeah, when
Uh,
you're
that was
brought up
that
to
was
do
a
it, you,
I
you know.
you know what? And I really, my first impression of Ty Gibbs was the bullshit interview he gave after the ARCA race, where he talked about next week we get to go to a real racetrack. So he basically disrespected Daytona International Speedway. And I'm not saying he's totally wrong to do it. It's just not your place. You got to earn your stripes. So I thought, who is this punk? The next week he comes out, he earned that win. And in his winning interview, he even said, I regret I gave a really bad interview last week after the ARCA race. So the kid was humble, I thought, and I was happy for him. You know what I mean? I was happy that he got the opportunity to say, hey, I screwed up last week. I hope you can accept my apology and move on. But I was impressed. Good for him.
Me too. Let's talk about our Burger Barn video of the week. This will be our Lancaster video. This came out on social media on the weekend, and the NASCAR race, they actually picked it up. This was a wild race at Lancaster a few years back. Spencer, roll it.
All over the place.
Rick Mooney with the call.
Jim Bryant hard into the foam. Oh my goodness.
Show it again, Spencer. So you've seen a monster truck do a backflip, but I've never seen a street stock do a backflip.
And you'll never see it again, Clint. Like that is an accident that you just don't expect to see. If you told me a race car could do a backflip that wasn't aerodynamically induced, like, you know, when we've seen Formula One cars or prototype cars get air underneath them and do a big flyover like that, but a stock car, never, no way.
Wild. Just goes to show you anything can happen anytime, anywhere at a racetrack. You've always got to keep your head up no matter where you are. But yeah, and it seemed to land on the perfect corner. Like, had that landed right on the roof, it would be not good. But, you know, kind of took some of the velocity out of that crash. But wow, imagine the G's when you hit that thing head on. And wild. That was at Lancaster Speedway. So they're getting back at it this year. They've got some big races. The Wayland Modified Tour coming to town. I know Mikey Myers and the crew over there are super happy about that. So we always get invited, Adam, but we can never go. We're always doing something else on the Saturday. But I've never been to Lancaster.
The border's closed.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
True. No.
I've
just drive by on the
been
freeway.
there I've been there to see the super modifieds. I've been there for a few shows. It's a weird racetrack, man. Like, you come off of turn 4 and hit the drag strip and all the banking disappears. Not that there's much to begin with, but.
Next on the list is NASCAR and short tracks. This got sent to me by Tony Spiteri. Actually sent us this. And it was an article about how NASCAR has to reconnect with the short tracks more, Adam. And it talks about bringing stars in like we've done in Rush Weekend and getting them to connect and kind of look around. And it's a great article. So if you check it out there, I don't know if you got a chance to read it, but it kind of.
Oh, did we lose Clint, or did we lose me?
Forward.
I see myself on the big screen, so.
I think we're both here.
We're both back
now, Spencer.
I think it's Spencer's computer that goes down.
Stuttering.
Yeah.
But he blames it on us.
I know. That was going to be my next, but you brought it home. Hey, Clint, what do you have planned from 9 till 10 tonight?
Is this a trick question?
It is. I forgot Stephen Evans has the night off, so I've got to announce the...
Hold on.
I've got to announce the...
Did he hear that, Spencer, or did I just hear that?
Oh, I heard that.
See, I thought Spencer was whispering to me. He said, shh, he needs help. Don't,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
So Stephen has to take the night off, so I've got to call the Grisdale Racing Products Super Late Model iRacing Series presented by London Recreational Racing and Caldecott Millwright Services on my own, which means I'm about to solicit your assistance, Clint.
Can you call my wife? Send her a text and ask permission? I don't know.
That's
we'll talk
on
later.
you.
Is it a Discord thing?
We'll talk about it later. It's in 20 minutes. Yeah, on Discord.
Is it? All right, I'll think about it. Depends how nice you are to me in the next 20 minutes.
Don't count on that.
Let's talk about Dairy Queen International Speedway. Now, Adam, for our announcing crew, was there ever a better name for a race than Dairy Queen International Speedway up in Thunder Bay, Ontario?
I'm still waiting for Greg Callan's letter of resignation to come through. I haven't seen it, but obviously he's going to take the job.
You know, lots of tracks in series throw shots across our bow Rush Weekend. I thought someone was taking a shot to just like It's the ultimate passive
It's like
aggressive move.
Weber
Steal the
Valley.
Oswegan announcing team. Yeah, it's the biggest move you can make to steal the Oswegan announcers right out from under us. What could I say? But yeah, this is being built in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Just how cool is it? Anytime you get a new track coming into the fold, it's good for business in racing all around.
What are they doing with those blocks?
Okay, if you got a chance to read the story, they're building an archway that is going to be key to a lot of their marketing and the way they're going to tell the story. And that's going to be the entrance in and out of the speedway. And it looks pretty neat. I thought it was cool.
Huh. They're not going to race through the archway?
No. In fact, it's one of those stories you get in the morning. You start reading it. It says, it looks like things are coming together. Norm has arranged for a welcoming arch that spectators will use to enter the bleacher and grandstand area. This massive concrete structure weighing in 80 tons will be the entrance and exit for spectators. This one feature alone offers racers a promotional advantage and will help bring out fans just to be able to experience and describe this feature of their unique home track. It's a one-of-a-kind arch, will be prominent in most of the advertising and immediately recognizable. Interesting idea. We'll see how it works out for them. Thunder Bay is a long way from here, but hey, a brand new speedway. Just think about it, Adam. When Steyer's built Oswegan 7 years ago, started that, they all laughed. They thought he was crazy. But look where he is now, So
yep.
It can work. And actually, when you think about it, other than street stocks at the time, none of the classes that race there now race here weekly in Ontario. So sprints, crates, mini stocks weren't even. They were kind of like a Cayuga thing, weren't they? Like that's where Pinball and Jim Swing and all them guys were, didn't they? Paris?
Keep in mind there was 20 years between mini stocks at Cayuga and Oswegan Speedway opening. Right? Oswegan Speedway opened in 96. Cayuga did not run mini stocks after it stopped racing weekly, and it stopped racing weekly, I thought, in the late 70s. So as you say, Paris Fairgrounds, like mini stocks were a novelty racing kind of thing. I hate to throw that kind of shade on them, but even mini stocks started to get bigger and bigger, but for the longest time, it was a tough class to get a hold of because there were so many manufacturers, so many variations that it took a really savvy tech person to get things under control and rein in the rules.
Well, I mean, I thought all those guys came over from somewhere. They were racing somewhere before Oswegan. I thought of it, unless they all started there.
Paris Fairgrounds is probably.
It's something we're going to have to dig into. But good to see them come along. Jumping along. Timeout. How long ago did you know that you were going to be solo and need somebody in the next 13 minutes?
I forgot. I knew
So hold on, that was kind of ago. The answer was a week or two ago.
Let me have a look here and see if you are in this chat group that I'm in.
I am.
Because that will then go screw yourself.
That's why I was
I knew at the same time you knew.
Yeah, I wondered how long you were going to take to ask me, but I just thought maybe you got a better offer, so I was off the hook.
I'm desperate, and that's why you're on the hook.
Yeah, I'm last choice, but I'm okay with that. All right. Tags, karting places come along, Adam. We had Alex Tagliani on the show a couple months ago to talk about how things are going on with his new karting and entertainment complex. The pictures have really come together. Spencer showed some of the stuff we were able to collect. Man, this indoor track looks like it's going to be a blast, Adam. I got the call, Hamilton Indoor Indy. The boys are going back next Friday, so, it's not as cool as this, but this would be awesome. Looks like you're racing around a multi-level office complex.
I look at those barriers, Clinton, and I think I don't need to clear them. I could go right through them.
I think
but it does look fantastic. Yep, I agree.
We're definitely going to have to make a stop there, chuck some maxes, and do whatever else. You got to look at the karts. They're really not messing around. These are race machines, and they look ready to go. What a gorgeous spot. So we'll have to get in there and check that out sooner than later. Next time we take the old caravan down to Quebec. Along the lines of go-karting, we talked last week to Scott and Allison Kruger about their new business at IndyCart Raceway in New York State. They announced this week an IndyCart Raceway League. So kind of a lot of stuff we talked about going on. It's a 4-week spring league, Tuesday evenings, starting March 9th to the 30th, 7 p.m. Pre-register now. So if you're interested, look them up on their Facebook page, find Scott or Allison, and get involved in the, I think Scott Hickson is also involved in that, getting the IndyCart Raceway Indoor Karting League. Man, I wish the border was open. We could have so much fun if that was closer to home for us. And that's something I would definitely commit to. We miss our weekly Monday night hockey. This could definitely be a Tuesday night karting thing. And Daddy's money would be dragging you there every week if this was anywhere around here.
Yeah, he probably would be. You're probably not wrong.
So we wish them the best over there at the IndyCart Raceway League. I have to read that properly every time. All right, Adam, we also talked recently. This has been like a recap show of all these topics, and I gave Spencer shit this week. I said, don't delete our rundown because it's a map of what we talked about in the past and how we can play it off the next week.
Yep.
We've got 2 quick topics to talk about, and then we want to know everybody's opinion on sticks. Signal sticks in late models. So if you have comments on that and you know what we're talking about, they're coming to Dirt Modified Racing, and it won't be long before we see them right across the board. They're like a cockroach we can't prevent, and I'm not happy about it. I don't think it's preventable. So let us know what you think about signal sticks. We're going to talk about that right after we talk about our great sponsors, Adam. We've got a lot of people who've helped us out this last year, who've kept us rolling. So if you see the names along the bottom of the screen, make sure you reach out to them and tell them you appreciate them supporting racing. As Adam mentioned, if they're being shown on the bottom of our screen, they are the advocates for us and a lot of racing going on. So pretty much, I would say almost every name you see on the bottom of our screen doesn't just help us. They're giving multiple support to multiple places in the Ontario racing scene. We appreciate that.
Yep, great partners to motorsports.
For sure. Mad Max monetizes Matt's move. That's the cleverest thing I could come up with today. Let's show the t-shirt, Spencer. So,
one black eye.
Go ahead.
One black eye, one busted lip, one Dirt Car Nationals championship. And I love it.
I love it
so,
too.
To me, Clinton, and this is why one fixed rule can't apply to everything. Racing used to be a self-cleaning sport. And what I mean by that is people would deal with their shit and they'd come back the next week and carry on, right? You didn't need police involved. You didn't need suspensions or bans or you're gone for life. When a driver can confront another driver, say what needs to be said or do what needs to be done without it escalating into a huge brawl, they walk away, or one of them walks away, and one of them brushes themselves off and stands back up, and they return to play again. In this case, there wasn't another race where they could play again, but Max makes these t-shirts. Matt Shepard chimes in to comment on these t-shirts, and Matt Shepard has an extra large shirt on the way, and I believe Max is giving it to him for free as long as he agrees to wear it at Can-Am Speedway. Well, but that's full circle, right? That's full. So you don't have to worry about.
How many punches should you get? I don't disagree that you should be able to clear it up, but I'm saying also on the other side, as a manager of a speedway, how do you let it go?
Who's the best tough guy? Who's the best tough guy there ever was in NHL? What's the first name that comes to mind? Bob Probert. Who kicked Bob Probert's ass? I'm glad you said Bob Probert. I think it was Wendell Clark. I think it was Wendell Clark that handed it his ass to him. No matter who you are, no matter how big you are, how tough you are, someone's going to come along who's bigger and tougher. When that person comes along and can hand your ass to you, next week you show up and play hockey. And they'll have conversations, Clint, on the line. Do you want to go? Do you want to do this? You want to spend the game in the penalty box again, or do you want to play some hockey? Now the tough guy's got to make a choice. Well, maybe I just want to play hockey, or maybe I'm going to pick on somebody else who I can beat up. Well, next shift, you're going to get your ass whooped by the guy who can already beat you because he's on that team. It's perpetual. It keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. The referees do not stand between the fighters. There is a code of conduct, right? And I'm not saying this fits every situation, but to me, it fits this situation. Matt might be able to feel like he stuck up for himself. Good for him. Max feels good because he put the check in his pocket and walked away. Turns out these two were able to make a joke about it and carry on without people having to pile on and get up on their soapboxes. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Unfortunately, the world's changed so much. You know, there was a time when, like when you and I, that wasn't much long after they first started allowing women in the pits. So women weren't even allowed in the pits for a long time. It was a gruff bunch of men over there. Kids and women did not apply. It was basically like a smoky bar room, and you risked a honky-tonk punch in the mouth when you went over into that part of the world. Well, now we've got women, children, babies, and puppies everywhere. It's a different place, and the participants are no longer, Jesse James with a cigar in his mouth. It is now, 14-year-old girls who are trying to get in the sport. And sometimes that's an issue. I mean, I saw a thing with Alex Hilder where she was talking about, she got in an incident and a guy come over and cuffed her in the helmet when she's still in the car. And then after, boy, was he ever embarrassed when he found out she was a 16-year-old girl, and it was just one of those deals where, it happened.
You can be embarrassed, but at the same time, I wouldn't be. That's how that should play out. And if she's got a helmet on, she's a competitor just like you. Say your piece, do what you got to do. Like I'm not advocating for ever striking a woman, but when someone's got a helmet on and they're in battle, they are your competitor. That's what they are. Once you know the facts and know what's what, it gets so awkward, Clinton. It gets so difficult. I sent you a Victory Lane video that showed people clearly trying to start a fight. And those people were not members of a pit crew and were not drivers. They were people who were at the races with their driver, with their pit crew, and a lot of the antagonizing that they were doing, it was clear to me someone's got to step up and deal with this. Like if my lovely wife Angie was in the pits pointing finger and not pointing this one that I'm holding out and lipping off, I got to step in. I can't leave her on her own. Now I've got an issue. So I've got to be there to make sure I have her back. So whoever she's drawing at now it's an issue. Just as an example, these things escalate so fast. Ugh, it's a nightmare.
One of my career highlights as an announcer manager was when we had a drunken guy come out of the grandstand at Humberstone, and we're interviewing Billy Bleach, and the guy's chirping at him, and he ended up taking a swipe at me right in Victory Lane, and this was a guy who had no business being anywhere near Victory Lane. Just came down on the grandstand, walked through the fence like a fan, and started chirping. We'll have to show that video next week. It was an interesting day. Anyways, so let's talk about Merrittville's Pizza and their shirts cause, because Stephen Petty just mentioned in the chat. If you get to Merrittville Saturday from 2 to 5, the pizza drive-through and t-shirt sale with proceeds going to the teams affected by the fire in Niagara-on-the-Lake, like we talked about last week. This was the ad for this is the ad for this Tuesday. Great. So check it out. We showed off the pizza here. It's like I said, total recap. This is the lineup on Saturday, and they were lined up all the way down Holland Road, causing traffic issues in Merrittville area. That was great. I believe that's Rob Murray. They're cooking outside on the pizza oven. And I think they brought another one in, and there they were. They were coming down Holland Road, driving along the backside of the grandstands in a parade, pick up your pizza and head on out. They were lined up for hours. They raised thousands of dollars for the Niagara-on-the-Lake teams, and there it is. It cooks right inside the fire on the big stone in there, and it's amazing pizza. I can't wait for you guys to give it a shot. You're absolutely going to love it. So kudos to Don and Tim Bredman at AutoFX Graphics and the Merrittville folks and BRP and everybody else behind, helping raise money for all our friends in Niagara-on-the-Lake who are suffering with that. So that's going on again this Saturday. Check it out. It is definitely worth it. And I'd line up early because the pizza's badass and the shirt's really cool too. Did I send you a picture of the shirt, Spencer? Throw it up if you got it. And don't? Okay. It's coming. Our last thing, Adam, was signal sticks, and Spencer's going to have to dig into his pile of pictures too because we're going to have a bunch of them coming up next year too. Spencer, you don't have to worry about it if we missed it, but the shirt is cool. There it is. The Merrittville Speedway 70th anniversary shirt. Canada's oldest dirt track. Racers and fans, our family, we all stick together. So that's cool. 25, 30 bucks.
I heard about that, and Joel Robinson sent me the link on Twitter, but the link came from Eric Thomas, and I'm still blocked from Eric Thomas's Twitter. I don't even remember why. Clinton, do you?
No.
But it's got to be. I don't have a feud with Eric Thomas. It says you are blocked from seeing this person's tweets. Wow, that's cool.
Bad boy. Signal sticks. Show them, Spencer. Since Fran doesn't even know what they are, how do I got something on Fran? So these are signal sticks. Run through the picture, Spencer. So you can buy them online. They're about 40 bucks. These are actually listed as dirt late model signal sticks. So this is teams signaling at them with big light up sticks to their drivers as they're driving around. It's the hottest thing in late model. It's been going on for probably 10 years, I would say. But it's started to make
its been going on forever. Signaling has been going on forever. I say let them run two-way radios. There was a time in the Super Dirt Series, and we should get Joe Plazicon to talk about this, because if I remember correctly, there was nobody better on the radio than Kent Peckham was for Joe Plazic to suggest what line might be working on the racetrack, where the car's coming in, where someone else is doing well. And I would like to talk about the open communication and dialogue he had with his crew chief, Kent, who's no longer with us. Kent passed away after a long battle with cancer in the last couple of years. But give them radios. They look goofy holding those sticks in their hands.
All that stuff you just said is the reason why we shouldn't have either. So they can tell the driver what's better. Why don't we just take the drivers out and have remote control cars? All right, we just have big remote control cars. It won't matter no more.
You still got to drive them. So then, if that's the case,
the biggest problem in short track racing is two-way radios. It is. It's horrible. You know what? It's the same. Not at all. You really think radios make better racing?
I don't care.
They make insurance racing. They make it so if you're having a good run, you can guarantee you have a good run.
Hey,
you don't have to push any harder. You can back off.
You think Max McLaughlin would have benefited if someone radioed him and said Matt Shepard's about to go punch you right in the jaw? No, his helmet was off. Radios will only do so much. They don't drive the cars. Have everyone use the sticks then. There's things that you can't police, and there's things that you shouldn't want to police. Don't care. Do what you want to do. Some cars you can run mirrors in. Some cars you can't. Put in a mirror. I don't care. I still want to race better than you. I still want to beat you. Do whatever you want. I am still going to win.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. It makes for blocking racing. It ruins the drama in a lot of ways. I'll give it to you the same way. I love David Farney, Dirt's starter, but him doing this with his flag showing the leaders top three where they are and pointing out the gap. I've argued with Dave on many occasions. You ruin the race, and as an announcer, when we're up in there pouring our guts out, and you got a guy like Matt Shepard or locally here Brad Rouse, or someone just pulling away from the field. Our only hope is for them to step on their dick and give us a show. So all you're doing by showing them they have a big lead, they just back off, and you might as well just throw the checker right there. Race is over.
So, okay, then let's follow the old school method that Joe Plazic used. If you're leading a race, you only drive at 90% until you see someone's nose, then you got to pick it up. Or the Ted Christopher approach. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, 3 bumps in your mind.
Yeah, it's more specific than that, and I can't remember. Joe Scott Nicky posted it, but the first bump says I'm here. Second bump says pick a lane. Third bump says I just picked a lane for you. You can have 10 radios in your car. If you don't adhere to that Teddy Christopher rule, you're going to be parked somewhere.
I've seen races ruin more races than I've seen them save races. That's
No,
all
you
I'm going to
haven't.
say. I've never been a fan
No,
of
you
it.
haven't.
Yeah.
List them. Name them. See, you're just
But I've
spouting
seen
off like an old man.
10,000 races.
You're spouting
So
off
are
like
you.
an old man.
I am an old man.
NASCAR Printy Series runs radios. They have some of the most exciting finishes. There is not a series that has more exciting finishes than that series with limited car count. But they've had more barn buster endings than any series I can think of.
Not a fan of it. Let us know in the comments whether you like signaling radios or whether you think we should go back to old school. Unfortunately, there's no taking the signal sticks out. There's no way to police it. Nothing we can do. We're all just going to look like we're light up acrobats up and down the back straightaway at all the dirt tracks.
So folks, think about signal sticks. Think about two-way radios over the next week. We're going to come back. We'll talk about it again next week and bring your arguments. And Clint, don't say you've seen it ruin more races. Tell me the race you've seen it ruined. I want you to do your homework and tell me why it's a problem, and I'll continue to tell you why I think it's not a problem.
Fair enough. That does it for our show, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And get to do your homework, says Professor Ross. See, you're mean. You can screw yourself and go out on the road. Do the race yourself.
All right. You still got the Discord link if you want to come in?
Yeah, I can't leave you hanging. I'll be there.
Night.
See you guys. Come on and join us. We're going to go short. Where are we racing tonight, Adam?
Oh, 5 Flags. It should be a good one.
Check it out. Coming up before us right now.